Hey guys, it's Marshall Ting with your Superior Ag Insurance Ringside Report for this past week of September 24th through the 30th. So we have had a busy week statewide across your sale barns and auction markets across the state of Kentucky, but the runs have been pretty consistent to what it was this time last week. So we sold 23,535 head of cattle statewide. Now that's pretty much on par, within about 400 head of what it was this time last week. Now you compare that to a year ago, you're still going to be up about 3,000 head from what we had that time last year. Now, what's this cattle market doing? Cattle market on these little feeder cattle are starting to get just a little bit tough. You're seeing a lot of these unweaned calves coming to town, these fleshier balling type cattle, and we all know how prone to sickness they are and to loss. So that's putting a huge damper on these cattle. Now, on a positive note, if you're a cow-calf producer, if they're still preconditioned, ready to turn out and forget about them, they are still bringing a premium, but you are seeing just a little bit of a decline in both buyer desire and price on these lighter fleshy cattle coming right off the cows. Now, let's talk about what they're doing. So, as a whole, you're going to call your feeder steers and heifers $2 to $5 lower. Yearlings this past week is going to be pretty much steady. But let's talk about these little 4-weight cattle worse. Your 4-weight steers, I'm going to call them $260 as an average. That's back just a little bit, but still not too bad from what we have been seeing. They still did top off at $302.50 though. Now, your 5-weights, $250 was going to be the average on those. They topped off at $274 flat. So seeing a little bit more of a decline in your 5-weights than you are in your 4-weights as far as your top end of things. Now let's talk about these yearlings. So yearlings as a whole, going to call them pretty much steady. I think they're back just a little bit. As a whole, you saw a whole lot more of these 8-weight cattle this past week in the $230, $235, $240 range, but we still did have some pretty good rising stars. Let's talk about them real fast. So here's your big strings of 8-weights. Here's 64 head of black 8-weight steers, weighed 801. These are all blacks at 247. But check out this big string. Here's 75 head of the blacks and reds. Steers, 817 pounds on the average, 253.75. And then close out your 8-weight. Still pretty strong. Here's 59 head of black steers, 859 pounds on the average, 247.50. So that's what's going on in your 8-weight category. But check out this big special treat of Holsteins. Here's 60 head of Holstein steers, 944 pounds on the average, $1.82.40. So not a bad trade on a big set of Holstein steers. But talk about your CME feeder cattle index. So normally as a whole, we're trading right there with the CME feeder cattle index. This past week, we've been back of it just a hair. So your CME feeder cattle index on Monday the 25th was 253.90. Tuesday the 26th, 253.27. Wednesday the 27th, 252.20. And then closed out Thursday the 28th at 252.11. So as you can see, a lot of our cattle are at that 240 range, 230, 235, 240. We are back at the CME feeder cattle index right now, and that's just a little bit of what's going on. Now, if you have any questions about this information or you're interested in a livestock risk protection policy, there's no better time than right now to invest in one of those. If you have any questions on those or you're interested, call the guys. Call Ian Thomas at 859-613-2453 or call Adam Shoemaker at 859-338-4116. Check them out on the web, www.superioragins.com. As always, thank you so much. Talk to you soon.